Now we're going to start with the decimal portion of our numbers. So this is really kind of the most important thing that we need to learn this year. One of them is getting decimals and fractions down. Those are a big thing for getting you ready for middle school. So we're going to extend our decimal place. I believe last year in 4th grade your decimal places went down to the hundredths place. And this year we're going to take it out to the thousandths place. So every year you're going to kind of take your numbers out further and get them bigger and bigger in your place values. So let's just review. We're going to finish out creating your place value chart so you've got a completed one for everything that you need to know for 5th grade. And so what we had talked about in the first module, in part 1 of the first module, is our whole numbers are on the left side of our place value. We have 4 periods. And those periods are the billions, millions, thousands, and then units. They are separated by commas. So a comma shows us the end and groups us into groups of 3 numbers at a time for each period. And then the whole number part of our place value chart is ended by the decimal point, which kind of makes sense because it's kind of like the end of the sentence, that decimal point, like a period at the end of the sentence. And then we're starting something new after that, a new sentence, right, which is the new thing that we're starting in our place value chart are the decimal numbers. So that kind of helps you remember where the decimal goes. So when our whole numbers are ending, we're out of ones, and now we're talking about, say, our change that we have in our pocket, our quarters, our nickels, and our dimes, and our pennies. That is our new sentence, okay? The change is our new sentence, and then our first sentence, or our main sentence, is our whole number, our big dollars, like ones and fives and tens, 20s, $100 bills, and so on. That's on our whole number side. So whole number side, we have 4 periods. They are billions, millions, thousands, units, separated by commas, and then the whole numbers, the units stop, and end our sentence with a decimal point, and then we start our decimal numbers. Each of our periods, again, are separated or divided up into 3 parts, which is hundreds, tens, and ones for each one. So we have 3 place values within each period. So the commas divide us up into groups, our numbers into groups of 3. And then we have the end of our sentence at the end of the whole numbers with our decimal point, and we move into our decimals. The 3 decimal places that we need to know for 5th grade are the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousandths. Notice that they are very similar to tens, hundreds, and thousands, but there's a difference. We have that THS at the end saying that we're talking about parts of things, okay? So we can also represent tenths, hundredths, and thousandths as fractions and decimals, which is kind of nice because sometimes we need to work with fraction numbers and sometimes we need to work with decimal types of numbers. So in the tenths, 1 over 10 or 1 out of 10 is our tenths, okay, or 1/10. It is also written as the first decimal point to the right of the decimal is our tenths place. So we would have 1/10, same thing, 1/10 and 1/10, or 1 out of 10 and 1 out of 10. In the hundredths place, that's going to be one thing out of 100. That is 2 decimal places to the right of the decimal, so that's where we're going to put our numbers. So if our decimal goes out 2 places to the right of the decimal, we're at the hundredths place. Then we have the thousandth place, and that's going to be 1 part out of 1,000 parts, or 3 places to the right of the decimal point, okay? So we're going to stick that 1 3 places to the right of the decimal point in order for it to be 1,000th, okay? And you can still read your decimal numbers as like whole numbers, but you just, at the end, you're going to put what place value you end at. So say that we had 0, Remember, this is and at the decimal point, okay? And let's say that this is our number here. I would say that this is 0 and, you don't really have to say that, but we're going to do that just so that we remember. It's 0 and 243, just like you're reading the number without that decimal point. 243 thousandths. We end at the thousandths place. We could also call it, let's say we have this number, 1 and so this would be read as 1 and 41 thousandths. Okay. Let's say we get rid of our 1. I would read that as 1 and 4 hundredths. Notice how we're just reading the number like as if it was in this period right here, but we just tack on at the end the place value that our numbers of the last digit in our number. So that finishes up our place value chart. You can start using the place value chart to write your decimal numbers inside of it now, and helping you read them and line up your decimals and that kind of thing. So we are going to continue on after this with what's in a grid. See you in the next video.